All right, guys. So welcome back to the channel. First off, like I always do, I want to thank you guys for the support, for watching the videos, for leaving comments. I am getting a little bit more traction than I was getting before my trip to Tennessee. So much appreciated. Thank you for the new followers. Um, if it's not this video, if it's not the next video, or the following one, I am going to be doing a small giveaway. I'm still not sure what it's going to be of, but stay tuned for that. Um, if you do like my content, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like or a follow or a comment. Doesn't really matter, or even just watch it. It's really up to you. Today's topic is going to be just laugh. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, I mean, that's pretty easy, but when I'm talking about just laugh, I'm talking about your coping mechanism. Uh, what do you what do you use in those situations that your body's just made as a coping mechanism for certain things? Like myself, growing up, I, of course, like I mentioned before, I've gone through things that I don't feel like any kid should have gone through, but I went through them, and it's just how life is sometimes. I thank God that I'm still here. So, on that note, when it comes to my coping mechanism, it was me learning that once something bad happened, was going to happen, or something that I was thinking about that was bad, just anything like that in general, I would just laugh about it. I would do the weirdest thing ever where I would just laugh, and I would just joke around about the dumbest things just to get my mind off of it. Watch a funny video, go do something that made me laugh, come up with jokes, do something that helped me cope with what was going on. That was my coping mechanism. And for the longest time, I didn't realize that I was suppressing the other emotions that I have. I wasn't dealing with what I needed to deal with, because when it came down to it, I exploded. I turned into this person that I always said that I was never going to be. I hurt people that I didn't expect I was going to ever hurt. I held on to things that I know I should have let go if I had the right how do you say it, the right mindset to let it go, to actually absorb it and go through it and understand that it's okay. I just didn't have that in my life at that point, and for a long time I didn't have, like, as a kid, when something bad happened to me, I felt like I couldn't go to anybody. I don't know if it felt like that for a lot of people, but that's how it felt for me. And as an adult, I still didn't know how to deal with it. It's not until I found God and I decided to be saved that I realized that all my emotions were coming out at once, and I was still joking around stuff that I shouldn't be joking around with. And that's horrible, because that's how I was living my life for the longest time. But it was just like a something bad was happening. That's how I turned into something tragic happened. I just started making jokes. Like, it's just how I grew up, but it's not how I want to continue to be. I know that there's a place and time for everything, but I didn't know that. I didn't get taught that. I'm learning, and I've learned, and I'm still learning till this day that certain things you got to talk. You got to let these emotions out when it happens. You got to grieve when you need to grieve. You need to cry when you need to cry. You need to be upset when you need to be upset. You need to let go when you need to let go. And these things I didn't learn growing up. So, of course, I feel like God gave me someone who was able to cope with that, who was able to express those emotions. Now, she didn't have, my wife didn't have that figure in her life where she could go to someone, but she was able to understand that 2 plus 2 equals 4. A square has 4 equal sides. Like, it was easy for her to understand it. For me, I I couldn't. I didn't want to. I I fought it for years and years and years. I was a I was a bad person. And I don't blame anyone else but myself for continuing to stay that way and not seeking the help that I needed. But now that I'm in a position where I can talk about it, it helps me realize that it's not going to be like that forever. One day, it's all going to be okay. And whether I like it or not, it's how it's supposed to be. Because in my mindset right now, it's like, well, not right now, but like not too far back, it was always, don't do that, don't do this, don't joke around about that, don't do that, don't do this. And it was just like I wanted to do bad, per se. And I wanted to not listen to that voice in my head that was my conscience that was telling me, don't do this, don't do that, right from wrong. So I had to relearn it. But I learned it from the right person. And then I started learning it from God. And then I started realizing what it really means to learn right from wrong. So, the biggest thing out of today is finding what your coping mechanism is and seeing if you realized it enough to work on that. A lot of people don't realize that they do certain things because they've been through stuff and it's just like a natural reaction, like second nature. And like I mentioned, I did that for a long time. But I knew what I was doing and I knew what would help me. And I know it sounds selfish to me, but it's what I did as a kid because my that was my thing to do. But when you have kids, you can't do that because they're not gonna go what you're gonna go through, what you went through. So why put them in that situation if you can be there, even though no one was there for you? So after everything, sorry, after everything, I know that I still got some work to be done, but that was one of my coping mechanisms. Just having that thing in the back of my head that said, "You're okay," because you're just gonna laugh it off. And now what I'm realizing is also having to work with it, having to take care of myself in a way that's not just being immature about it. It's actually growing and taking care of yourself and praying and talking to the people that are with you in your life and the ones that actually care about you, that want to see you do good in life. And now I see it now that I want to be one of those mentors, one of those role models. Alright, guys, so to finish off this video, I know I talked about a very sensitive topic today, but this topic wasn't easy for me to talk about. I know I talk about a lot of personal stuff here, and I want to be able to be more vulnerable, and I want to be able to help someone who may be going through the same thing. I like the aspect that God put me through something because He knew that I could handle it, and it was to make me stronger. So I saw this one video of this little kid. I saw this one video of this little kid that had cancer, and the guy that was interviewing it said, um, "Do you hate God because of what you have?" And he said, "No, because God chose me, and I'm happy that He chose me rather than choosing my sister." And that was a huge that hit me in the heart. That's unimaginable, things like that. And seeing the faith that comes from a little child that was 5, 6 years old, knowing what's going on and trusting in God. And so far the end of it shows that he beat cancer. So I'm very happy that happened. But it just shows that there's good out there, and that your kids really do know what's going on. And I wouldn't want my kids to go through the trauma that I went through, of course. But I do want to be able to help people who may be struggling with the same thing. That's why I do these videos, to show that people out there, it's not just you. There are more than one person going through this. I understand if this is something that no one wants to talk about, but if we never talk about the hard stuff, we're never going to grow. I learned that the hard way, and I'm very thankful that God gave me my wife, He gave me my family, He gave me everything that I asked for and more. He gave me something that I didn't even ask for, which was, it's amazing. So I'm not saying that you need to find God to move on and be happy. I'm just saying, what is your coping mechanism, and are you using it for good now, or are you using it for bad still? Are you using it to move on, or are you using it to continue to use it out of a way to get out of what you're feeling and not really expressing your emotions? That's gonna be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, of course, same thing like before. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. J Duran 27. J Duran period 27. I appreciate all the feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next one.